My cousin seduced every woman I ever dated, so I introduced him to someone whose husband made him disappear. Micah destroyed my relationships like it was performance art, and the worst part was how he'd smile while doing it. When we were 17, he got my girlfriend Aria naked in my parents' pool during my birthday party just to prove he could, then told me if she really wanted you, my words wouldn't have mattered. By college, he was filming my roommate's fiancée in her wedding dress, straddling him in the church parking lot, sending the video with, "She screams louder with me than she ever did planning you're boring forever." Our family enabled him at every turn because he was charming and successful, while the rest of us were just ordinary. My grandmother would wave her fork at family dinners, declaring, "Women know what they want, and if they wanted stability over excitement, they'd stay put." My aunt suggested we should take notes from Micah instead of whining about girlfriends who obviously weren't satisfied. The more they excused him, the bolder he got, like when he seduced my cousin's pregnant wife at her own baby shower by pretending he needed advice about becoming a father someday. My ex-girlfriend Violet and I spent 2 years building something real together with our food truck plans and trying for a baby, and I really thought that time was going to be different. Like clockwork, Micah showed up at her yoga studio, faking a back injury that required personal attention, and within 3 weeks, I found her key on my counter with a note saying, "Micah makes me feel alive in ways you never could." When I went to his apartment to get answers, I heard her through the door reading my therapy notes, doing dramatic impressions of me crying about my dead father, while Micah laughed so hard he was choking. At Sunday dinner, he announced to everyone while passing the potatoes that Violet says I do this thing with my tongue that makes her forget her own name, which explains why she settled for someone who needed a shrink to teach him how to be a man. That was the moment I decided to destroy him. After 3 weeks of searching for the perfect trap, I found Naomi at an art gallery downtown. She was arguing into her phone about money while her massive diamond caught the light, and my research had already revealed her husband Dimitri's Miami finance trips aligned with federal drug seizure reports. I started immediately by making sure Micah overheard me telling friends about this stunning boutique owner whose husband was never home, how she'd been drinking at lunch and calling her marriage a golden cage. By the next week, I was mentioning how she kept asking if younger men ever came to our food truck, and by week 3, I was telling our aunt that Naomi had started texting me late at night about how empty her bed felt. The next day, I watched Micah circle Naomi at the gallery like a predator stalking wounded prey, and within 10 minutes, he was dabbing her tears with his pocket square while she laughed at whatever lie he'd whispered. They left together that night, and the affair exploded into something unhinged because Naomi knew exactly which buttons would make him feel invincible. Her phone became a weapon, flooding his with 3 a.m. photos of Dimitri's empty pillow, captioned, "This bed feels like a prison without you." She convinced him to leave bite marks visible above her collar, swearing Dimitri was too pathetic to notice. By week 3, she was sending videos in lingerie saying, "He thinks this is from Miami, but only you deserve to see me." She had him answer when Dimitri called, making him stay silent while she lied about early nights alone. After 6 weeks, she told him she was pregnant while wearing white, tears streaming as she said, "I've never felt life growing inside me until you planted it there." Micah bought a $9,000 ring that night to propose in front of Dimitri and prove love conquered everything. When he walked into that house carrying roses and wearing his father's watch for courage, expecting some soft finance guy, he found Dimitri in darkness, watching security footage on 6 screens, showing every encounter, including 3 cameras on the conception. Dimitri didn't raise his voice, just slid photos across the marble that made Micah vomit when he saw the dismembered pieces. "That was the last person who touched my property," Dimitri explained while Naomi stood behind him, no longer pretending. He explained she'd been trying to give him an heir for 3 years, and Micah was just breeding stock they'd selected. "You have 6 hours to disappear completely, or your mother will be the first, and I'll make sure you're conscious when we mail you the pieces." Micah's voicemail came at 3 a.m. while I was asleep next to my new girlfriend, his voice so broken I could barely understand him through the sobbing. "You knew about Dimitri. You set me up. Please just tell me you did this, so I know I'm not going crazy." I deleted it without responding. 6 months later, my aunt got a postcard from Montana saying he'd found peace, but I soon found out he was working at a truck stop, sleeping in a rusted van with a loaded pistol under his pillow.